day, ladies and gentlemen. It's Daniel Umstead, host of the RNG radio show. Listen, three-time champ, three-peat is back on the RNG radio show. Mr. Ricardo Richard. Listen, I'm going to give y'all a brief. My man is going to explain his journey, his story, but you got to understand something with the growth of all of my guests on the show. When he came the first time, he had a YouTube series. Still got a YouTube series. He came the second time, he had a movie out. Now, third time, he's got a book out. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ricardo Richard. Brother, how you been, man?
I'm excited. I'm good. It's amazing. God is good. I'm a published author, so I'm really, really excited. And I'm excited about the healing that's going to take place when people read this book. So I'm excited.
I love it, man. I love it. Now, listen, if folks need to do some background as far as, the YouTube series as well as the movie, definitely check out the other interviews. But for now, tell me about the book, man. What's the book called? Where can folks find it at? Amazon. But tell me why you got inspired to write it, man.
I would say yes. It all started, with Hurt People, Bitter and Broken. So you guys, please check that out. The movie's been out, I think, only for like 3 or 4 months. So yeah, definitely still go check the movie out because it's still fresh. With putting the book out, I was thinking I was gonna put it out at the top of the year because I was just like, you know what? I just put the movie out. I don't know if I should put the book out, give it time. But the book is out and I'm really, really excited. And the book is called Trauma Healed People, Heal People. Some people think it's a self-help book. It's a novel. But in it's definitely a lot of self-help tips, if that makes sense, as you're reading the stories of the characters. So we have 4 central characters. Bashir, we pick up with Bashir's life. And basically, Bashir has to confront his father about some things. He discovers that he has a mother that's in prison, which I thought is really interesting and good because I never took that spin on mothers who go to prison and leave their children behind. Then you have Tristan. Now he's now in a search for his mother because remembering the rest of the seasons, both his brothers was murdered. And then you also pick up with Anne Marie. I think people are gonna love her. I think in the season 2 and 3 of the Brown brothers, they might have hated the mom, but now you hear her story and what happened in her life and why she couldn't raise her kids and why her kids was living on the streets. So I love that because a lot of times for the people that have seen the series, they might feel some time, be like, where is this mother? But then when you hear her story, then you'll be like, oh, okay. You might not still agree, but then you'll say, okay, she's been through things, and this is why, she wasn't the best mother that she could be to her children.
Gotcha. And hit us one more time. Where can folks actually find the book at and then purchase it?
Yes, you guys can find it on Amazon. You guys can go and just type in the search engine, Trauma Heal People, and my face pops up, and here is the book. So it's actually called Trauma Healed People, Heal People. The work is in the healing because you have to do the work. You get what I mean? So, and one thing that I realized about healing as I'm on this healing journey as well, I realized that I was listening to B. Simone. She was talking about how healing is not linear. One day you're up, the next day you might be sad, the next day you might feel like you're taking over the world. You go in waves. So I just want to let people know out there and give themselves permission and know that every day is not going to be a great day, but you can find the greatness in each day.
Wow, I love that, man. Now, I had somebody on the show a while back who I believe is the publisher that helped you get the book out there. What started that collaboration? And feel free to give her a shout out as well, man.
Yes, definitely shout out to Iris Sky Fiction. It was so crazy because when I had wrote the book initially, I had reached out and I was talking to her about it. I think it was about timing. You get what I mean? And then the moment we clicked, we connected and we talked, it just felt safe. You get what I mean? Like it felt really safe. It didn't feel like it was just about her working on my book. I felt like instantly we became like family and she cared about the project. You get what I mean? And I'm gonna be honest, there was even times where because I'm so used to doing everything myself, where most likely I was stepping on her toes. You get what I mean? Like trying to edit my own book, but I learned my lesson. You get what I mean? And I'm just so grateful that God had brought us together because I don't feel like it's just my book, I feel like everybody that's connected to the story, whether it's Ramsey who did the cover, whether it's DB Gotcham who did the photo, everybody, like it's not one person, you know, even though I had wrote it, I couldn't have done it by myself. So I feel like it's all of our books, and actually the whole cast of Hurt People. Without this series, I wouldn't have wrote the book, you know, the next one. So shout out to everybody. It's everybody's book.
I love that. I love that. Now, so YouTube series, movie, book. What's next, man? What's, you know, shoot, I could just say a year from now, because, you know, all this is happening within a shorter time frame, you know, between the series, between the movie, and between the book. Like, what do you see on the horizon for 2024 as we're closing out 2023, man?
2024, I see myself starting my podcast. It's called The Valley, and it's going to drop next year. This is where I really get an opportunity to do the work. I want to say this with this whole podcast situation. I really feel like it's a God idea. I never wanted to do podcasting, but I really feel like I just wanted to pursue my acting. Like I didn't even see a book out of the situation, but I realized that God does order my steps, because one thing led to the next thing. And I had thought after the book, you know, I'm just going to work on my next one, or I'm going to start, you know, back auditioning and stuff like that. But the podcast situation came about, and I really believe this is where God wants me to do next. So the podcast is called The Valley. And basically the valley is DA, is the valley. So the valley is basically where we have our sunken moments, where we feel like we have our wilderness experiences. So, and it's basically like, okay, how do we get out of those sunken places? How do we get out of those wilderness experiences, the trenches? How do we evolve? So basically I bring on guests and we talk. It's in my living room, so it's more like, it's crazy because it feel like therapy, but at the same time it also feel like I wanted to create a safe place for my guests. Some people might not want to do therapy, but it was so beautiful, like that we could have conversations, hard conversations. One of that guests I did, the first episode that I filmed, was with my father, and that one was very emotional. And I remember my aunt was watching and she said, so many young men need to watch this podcast, so many young women so many people need to watch this episode. And when my dad, he's a man's man, my dad is laid back, he don't want to be on camera. He like, look son, you go out there in the world, you do what you do, I'm behind the scenes, you know. And when he decided to do the episode with me, my dad started crying. We talked about how we had a conversation about my brother who was murdered 2 years ago, and we couldn't shy away from it. And that was the moment I realized, like, wow, this is something different for me. Because as I'm acting or I'm writing my books, people don't know if it's about my life or it's not, because I'm creating. And it was so crazy with this podcast situation. It was like, again, it was almost like God was like, all right, in this moment, like no more hiding behind something or behind a character. It's time for you, you know, for you to come in the forefront. You get what I mean? And open up. And this was hard for me because I don't really like tell my personal business. You get what I mean? But I realized, like my cousin told me years ago, it's not your business, it's God's business. So if me shedding a light on the relationship, so the title of the episode is How I Didn't Feel Worthy to Have a Father. And my father has always been in my life, but there was a time where I was in the valley, I was in a sunken place, I was in a low place, and my father was just trying to help me, and I had to go through some things myself where he couldn't help me. I had to go to God, and God met me in the valley. So I just want to let other people know that God can meet you in the valley as well, because He met me there. And so it's some dope episodes that I've been working on. I worked on one about mental health. Another one of my friends, how she discovered her lupus. I did an episode with my siblings. We did another episode, the Proverbs 31 woman. And
And
tomorrow, yes,
my
Proverbs
free
31
for
woman.
all. For all. I have my wife read it, so I'm with you, brother. I'm with you.
Yes, bro. And then the next episode that I'm working on, it's called Overcoming Kingsbury. So one of my friends, he's actually one of my best friends, was almost brutally murdered. And he tells his story, and I feel like once this get out there, like people's definitely gonna be reaching out him for interviews, and it's like a lifetime blockbuster movie. Like, so I'm excited on, to get him on the couch and talk to him. So the Valley is gonna be up next. So I'm be hitting you up next year to like, look, I want to talk about this podcast. You get what I'm saying? And then I was just telling Trish, I just started just jotting down some notes, about another novel. I started jotting down some notes also about a short film, but right now it's just me jotting down right now, just trying to enjoy the moment too. But it's kind of hard for me because I'm already on to the next thing. But I'm really enjoying the podcast. Like I'm really, really loving it. And like it's deep. Like I'm just like, God, you know what, take over, so I feel like as I'm on this healing journey, I'm taking people on the healing journey with me, and hopefully with some of these conversations people could go have conversations with their fathers, and if their father's not open to it, maybe they could write a letter, maybe they could burn it, but it's time to evolve and it's time to heal and be the best version of ourselves.
I love that, man. I really do. And I want you to, deep dive further into that, because a lot of people don't have the greatest relationship, with their parents or siblings. But talk about more, if you will, about like, hey, writing the letter and then burning it, what that does for somebody, if you can, for me.
I think it's about I think it genuinely goes back to everybody has a foundation, and some people foundations they start off broken. I remember listening to TD Jake's sermon. He talks about how sometimes in life we have pint-sized love, right? Well, we have gallon-sized love, and then some people might have pint-sized love. And when you're loving on a gallon size, the people that's loving from a pound size, they're never going to be able to give you what you give them.
Right.
So it made me realize that for me to continue to love people, also create boundaries. You get what I mean? And I think writing letters and I think burying things, it releases you, because when you really realize that your parents like were just people themselves and they just so happen to have you, and they had their own baggage that they came into uh the mother or fatherhood, they came into the situation as well. I think, I don't know, it liberates you. You get what I'm saying? It frees you to realize that your parents are just people. They're not superheroes. I thought my dad was a superhero. Then I got older. I'm like, oh, he's just a person just like I am with his own feelings, his own emotions. You get what I mean? So I think that it's really up to the person to decide that, guess what? I'm not gonna allow my past. I'm not gonna allow me not having a father or not having a mother. I look at this situation like this. My dad raised four boys. Me and my three brothers, we all lived in the same household. And all four of us decided that we went down different paths. My brother, decided to go to the streets. But again, he was raised by my father, the same father that I had. So some people use the excuses, oh, you had a father. I wasn't raised, I was raised by my mother, but my dad was my primary parent. So if we want to, you get what I mean, we could say to ourselves and make, have excuses like, oh, because I didn't have a father. And I'm not saying that stuff don't matter, because it does. But again, me and my brothers, we all grew up with the same fathers, and we all our lives turned out completely different. So I think it's really up to the individual. You get what I mean? And it's just about, what you want out of your life. So I chose to seek God. Matthew 6:30 says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things that be added to you. And then I went from there. So I think even when it come down to writing a letter, be honest and open, about where you are. Listen, I'm really mad at this dude, or I don't really like my father. Like, be honest about where you are, because I believe that God can bless who you pretend to be. So you got to be honest, and and one thing about healing I realize is it's dirty, it's grimy. You get what I mean? It's like, you ever seen the movie Ghost?
Wait,
Patrick
wait,
Swayze,
wait.
yeah, Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore. And I think they were kind of trying to create like a vase or something. So they was sitting there and they was getting in the mud. And as they continue to just keep rolling and forming it, it turned into a beautiful vase. And I feel like that's how healing is. You got to get in the dirt. You got to get dirty, and as you begin to, you're cultivating that vase, and cultivating eventually, essentially yourself, then you wind up becoming a masterpiece. But you got to get dirty. You got to have hard conversations with your parents. You got to have hard conversations with yourself. Like, and those things are hard because sometimes people don't want to go back to their childhood. They want to ignore it. But it's like you got to go backwards before you could go forward.
Love that, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. Give us one more time where folks can find the book and purchase it today, man.
Yes. So listen, the book, I want to say this last thing. Listen, I would be nothing without the Lord. So I just want to let everybody know, even the things that I'm doing, the things that's coming in the physical, it was already manifested in the spiritual. So I want to thank God for it all because I struggled as a kid with reading and writing. So the fact that I have a book is almost funny. You get what I mean? Because I could have took those insecurities into my adulthood and said, well, I've always struggled with reading and writing, and I was on hooked on phonics as a kid. So I just have to give all honor to God because it's just like, it's God. I'm an inner city kid. You get what I mean? Like, and I could have allowed, the death of my brother and the death of my stepmother and grandmother and so many people that I lost along the way to stop me. But God, that's all I could say. So, if you guys, would like to check out the book, again, it's on Amazon. Trauma, healed people, heal people. And please, you guys, go back to seasons 1 and 3. Check us out on YouTube, Bitter and Broken web series. And don't forget to hit, matter of fact, make sure y'all subscribe to my YouTube channel because the Valley is going to be something you guys never seen before. So I'm excited about the podcast. You got an insight. I haven't really told too many people that I've been working because normally it just pop up and they like, yo, what is it? Like, dang, he just be dropping himself. You got an insight on my new venture, and I'm really, really excited about this.
I love it, man. Love it. King, I appreciate you for coming on, the podcast once again, 3 times for the folks that don't know or just tuning in right now. So, appreciate everything that you do. Keep God first as you're already doing right now. And the proof is right there. So thank you again. And the links will be below, ladies and gentlemen. If you're listening right now, be sure to click on the links below under the description. Mr. Ricardo Richard, thank you again, brother.
Thank you. Get the book, y'all.
Thank you for tuning in to the RNG Radio Show. Be sure to like and subscribe for more episodes and future content. If you'd like to learn more, visit us at danielumstead.com. Stay blessed, my fellow millionaires.